Hello, welcome back. What are we looking at today? Linear equations. What does that sound like? Equations in one, variables with exponent one, degree one thing. So we're gonna have things in x, gonna have things in x and y. We're gonna deal with lines. It's not exactly hiding in that word linear line. Okay, it's there. So we're gonna look at some lines today. So I'm gonna work through I don't know, something like uh, 8 of the 36 problems here, like a quarter of them. Again, you'll notice there's only 36 problems here, but they're important problems and they require some formulas that you really need to know. So please, good God, if I'm writing a formula down here on the what did you have to know to get the correct answer, you should probably write that down too. So let's jump into it. All right, if 5 plus 2x equals 19 and 3x as well? What's it asking for? It's asking us to solve, but not for x, for 3x, which is kind of weird. Subtracting your 5 over, you'd have 2x is 14, divided by 2, and you've got x is 7. But x, it's not asking us for x, it's asking us for what is 3x. Go ahead and multiply each side of that equation by 3, and you've got 3x is 21. As an aside, I noticed that there were kind of two pairs of answers that were off by a factor of 3, right? There's kind of two pairs. There's a 721 pair and a 1236 pair. If your mental math is quick enough to do that multiplication by 3, you might have noticed 15 isn't going to be the answer. And I know that's not probably the problem where you need that strategy, but you'll often notice that there's kind of two pairs of answers and a weirdo. It's not the weirdo that often. So what do you have to know to get the correct answer to solve for 3? Nothing. Algebra. You do not solve equations. Algebra. Helpful. Great. Now, what we're really after today. One of the following equations is graphed on the standard xy coordinate plane below. Which one? And you look at all those and you have to know what slope intercept form for a line looks like. So everybody should be writing this down with me if you didn't know it already. Y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope of the line. And you might remember that the slope is defined as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'll write that again later on. You didn't actually, well, you kind of do here. More commonly, you just spout out the words rise over run without thinking too much, and that'll work for some problems, but not all. So what do we see here? I don't know. What am I looking here? I see. All right, that right there is my intercept B, and that looks like the point. That looks like the coordinate 0, -1. That's what that looks like to me. It's certainly negative. It's I don't think it's -2 because it's not halfway down to -4. So my B here is -1. So right away I say, okay, it's not F, it's not H, it's not J. It's one of those two. And now I ask myself, okay, is this thing going up 1 and over 3? Or is this going up 3 and over 1? Think about what that would look like. That would look like up 1 over 3, or are we going up 3 over 1? Quick reminder that you don't see it there, but there's a little 1 hiding under that 3 down there. So you look at that and say, which one of these does this look like? Well, it pretty clearly looks like K, where we've got a slope of 3, rising 3, running 1. Cool. So that's just kind of look at it. You didn't have that many points. You shouldn't have needed to plug into this slope equation, but I write it down because we will return to it. So keep moving. A couple down, like I don't know, 6 or something to go. All right, number 5. Great. The line with equation x minus 4y equals 12. Great. In the standard xy coordinate plane crosses the x-axis at which of the following points? The thing you need to know to answer this problem is that the x-intercept, where does that happen? That occurs, I never know if I'm spelling occurs right, at y equals 0. I'm sure I didn't spell that right. So how do we do this? We got to plug in 0 for y. Well, think about, where is the x-intercept? It's somewhere on here. And any of the points on here, this could be like negative some number 0. This would be like positive some number 0. Every x-intercept is going to have a y-coordinate 0. So you plug in 0 for y. This becomes x minus 4 times 0 equals 12. 4 times 0, that's just 0. So x is 12. Y is 0. Answer there of E. Cool. So we can do that. You'll notice up above a very similar problem to the previous one. I don't have to give you another example of that, hopefully. Number 9. What is the slope? Excuse me, 7. What is the slope-intercept form of 6x minus y minus 2 equals 0? Well, you have to know that slope-intercept form, what does that look like? Y equals mx plus b. You need to solve for y. That's what the question's really asking for. And in solving for y, there's a couple ways to solve for y. You could move like the 6x over and the 2 over and then divide by -1, but just notice that if you add y to both sides, you get 6x minus 2 equals y. Well, stop doing any work. You've just found the answer. Y is 6x minus 2. Remember, you can switch them around if they're equal. That's the point of being equal. They're equal. They're the same. You can put one in place of the other. Y is 6x minus 2. We can go ahead and circle our answer K pretty quickly. Move as few things as possible. What do you screw up? Negative signs. There's a lot of negative signs to screw up on that problem, so I try and move as few things as possible. Okay, well, we got a kind of a similar sort of problem as we saw earlier about intercepts. Now we're talking about the y-intercept. You need to know that the y-intercept occurs when x is 0. So that could be the y-intercept there. That could be like 0b, or could be down there. So the y-intercept occurs when x equals 0. So what's the easiest way to do it? You just plug 0 in for x. So this becomes 3 times 0 plus 2y is 12. You can see where this is going. 3 times 0 is 0. If 2y is 12, then you can see pretty quickly, then y is 6. Cool. Answer there, D. There's another way to do that. If you noticed, you could have had 2y is equal to negative 3x plus 12, and then dividing everything by 2, you see that y is negative 3 halves x plus 6. I think that's a little more work, but it gets you there as well. Recognize that there are multiple ways often to get to the correct answer. You're looking for the fastest one, and I'm going to always lead with the fastest one. A few to go. What do we got here? 13, 16, 23, 25. Cool. So 4 left to go. Take a look at 13. Why did I put 13 on here? Because you hate fractions. You hate fractions so much. God, you hate fractions. They just are the bane of your existence. They're not that bad, though. What do you have to know to get the correct answer? You're going to multiply by the least common denominator to eliminate fractions. Multiplying by the least common denominator is going to get rid of all the denominators. And so I'm looking at all these and saying, what is the least common denominator of 5 and 2? And hopefully you recognize that that would be 10. So I'm going to multiply the top of everything by 10. What's that going to get me? And why did I do this? 40c over 5 minus 10 over 2 equals negative 250 over 2. Oh my God, that seems worse. Until you recognize that you can divide all those things. 40 divided by 5 is 8c. 10 divided by 2, that becomes minus 5. Negative 250 over 2, that is going to be negative 125. Add the 5 over. 8c is negative 120. You divide each side by 8. And you're going to find your answer. Negative 120 divided by 8. Get a calculator out if you need. That's going to be negative answer. It's going to be negative 15. And we could plug that in, negative 60 over 5, negative 12. Yep, looks good to me. So if you wanted to go back and check, but you don't have time to check. You don't, yeah, I mean, you kind of do, but you got to move so fast. Most of you guys, you know, you're focusing on the first 30. You're trying to get the first 30 in your ACT right. But if you're trying to get above like a 24 or something, oh man, you got to go quick. And you got to trust your algebra. Let's keep going. I put number 16 on here. 16 is deceptively hard. Just deceptively hard question. So there's a few ways to do it. I'm going to show you point slope form. Y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. So you need to know point slope form. Point slope form, what's it require? A point and the slope. So we also need the slope. We need to know m is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And I'm going to go ahead and show some work over here. I'm going to go ahead and label things x1, y1, x2, y2. It doesn't actually matter how you label them as long as you're consistent. Y2 is negative 5, y1 minus negative 2, okay. And then x2 is negative 2 minus 10. All right, so what do I got here? I got negative 3 over negative 12, and I can see right away my slope is going to be 1/4. Okay, great. Oh, I don't know. Let's let me cross out the weirdo J. So you're going to see it's often not that one. All right. What are you going to do from here? You know, this is not a problem where intuition does a lot for you. Like you can kind of guess at it, but you really just got to go through it. Now you found the slope is 1/4. You need to be able to find that pretty quickly. Plug in numbers you know. Which ones are easier to work with? Maybe 10 and negative 2, maybe 2. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to call this y minus y1, so that'll be minus negative 2 equals 1/4 x minus, and x1 is 10. So this becomes y plus 2 is 1/4 x minus 10 over 4. Adding 2 over, that becomes y is 1/4 x. Negative 10 over 4, that's negative 2.5. Minus 2 more is going to be negative 4.5. That's going to be answer F up there. You're going to want to make sure you use your calculator in the fraction function. Let me get my calculator out real quick if I can find it. I can. Somewhere along the line, you were going to have to type in there like negative 10 over 4 minus 2. And it was going to give you that for an answer. Okay, and then you're going to say, ah, crap, but I don't know what that is. It's a fraction. Make sure you know, hit that math button right here. Right there, hit the math button, arrow frac, hit that, and it's going to turn it into the answer, the negative 9 over 2 that we selected. So a couple left to go. Again, slope formula, got to be good with it. Point slope formula is what you use if you aren't given the intercept. Slope intercept form is what you use if you are. 2 left. 23 is kind of a bear. I'm going to let you figure it out, but it's a question you should probably ask me about. It's a complicated one. Ask me about 23. Ask me about 23 in class. Make that one you ask me about. And I'm just going to say make 25 one you ask me about as well. A couple questions you might need. 25 is a whole lot easier than it appears. Easier than it looks. But 23 also looks funky. So take a look at those two. I named them a couple tricky ones, but you can probably give them a shot before you call me over and ask me again. You've only got 36 problems here to do today. Not too bad. You should definitely get it done here in the building. Don't need to take this home. And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.